kind
This
of screen
conference will
that
now be recorded.
that
I
could,
forgot to start.
that's okay. Have you looked at any kind of screening that could possibly just create sort of a camouflage band across there?
No, we haven't. And the drawings are not out to bid yet, so that's why we thought this would be good to present to the board and kind of get some feedback. And then I can take it on to the design team to see what they, what options they come up with in order to screen it from. So are you suggesting it be screened from the street and from the ballpark, or just from the streets?
I guess I'd like to see what it looks like from the ballpark side, but I think, more people are going to see it from the street side. Although, does it slope towards the ballpark?
It does. I think it does.
So you're probably going to
I
see.
I don't have the building sections of theory right now, but.
Greg, is that you?
Yes.
Oh, good. We could
Sorry,
see you,
I
but
had
we couldn't hear you.
I had some problems with audio, still do, but yes, I agree, Dana. I'd like to see what it looks like from the ballpark side, but I think it'd look better to have it screened on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just such a significant building, and there's been so much thought, put into restoring it over the years. And, I think it's something that we're all so proud of that we'd hate to have it made worse. Does anybody else have any comments or thoughts?
Well, one of my, as always, principal concerns is precedent. And
Yep, me too.
I think I'd just like to see it from the park side, but my first inclination is that it should be screened from both sides.
Okay. I'll have to check from precedents in terms of, because generally speaking, we're looking at only the impacts from the public right of way. So I will double check too, if this is a unique circumstance because of the nature of the building, if the board's purview applies to the stadium side of the building as well, the field side.
That would be great if you would, Laura.
Is the river considered public?
I don't know.
That would be the view you get from the river, or the bike path, or the park.
Well, when I'm sitting on looking at the park and that, I would consider it public right away.
Okay. Yep, I forgot about the trail behind it. So, yep, thanks for keeping that in mind.
So yeah, I just think, from watching over our baseball treasure here, I think we would want to see as much screening as possible. And I don't know, do you have some a designer or an architect that's working on this, or?
Yeah, it's Shive Hattery. They're the design. They're the architects. So I'll send them the feedback from our meeting tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure they can come up with some creative way that. I mean, I could almost just see a kind of a continuous horizontal band. Now, I know that's not going to be cheap, but just something that, rather than having individual little
boxes around it,
that it's just one continuous band that sort of just makes the whole building look a little bit taller, perhaps.
Right. I think they were they submitted cut sheets of the same kind of screening that they have on that short roof that's around their HVAC units. So we might have to go back and install the same ones, and maybe try to see if we can actually even pull them a little closer, so we can reduce the cost of the screen. But
True.
I'm sure they can come up with something.
Yeah, and keeping it consistent with materials that are already used would also be good, just to not add to another element.
Got it.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any comments they want to make or concerns, or do they or even if you don't think that it's a big deal, speak up. Okay, so officially then, I guess, are we tabling this once more just until we can get more information on a view from the ballpark side and what screening might look like? Does that sound like a?
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, I would move to table this, Dana, till next meeting.
All right, thank you, Greg. Is there a second to that?
I will second.
Thanks, PJ. Any further discussion? All in favor of tabling till our next meeting, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries. Great. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so next order of business is new business. Case 2101. Woohoo, our first case of the new year. Request, request for design approval, CD Downtown Zoning District fence at 331 Scott Street, Central Fire Station, City of Davenport petitioner. All right, do we have somebody?
This is, we have Rob McDougall from the fire department online to talk about this, but just to kind of go generally, what they're looking to do is a 6-foot tall fence. They had, in the application, there's 2 options. One would be a black chain link fence and one would be a wrought iron style fence. My recommendation would be the wrought iron style. They do have, and it would be enclosing the employee parking area for the fire station, as they've been having some problems with that area in the downtown. So along Ripley Street right now, there is a similar wrought iron fence. They would just be doing the same thing, but 6 feet, and it would fully enclose. There's the closer view of the fence. And what they would be doing is just enclosing the employee parking area and have a swing gate at the employee parking entrance. And so my recommendation would be the wrought iron fence.
I would agree, Laura. That would look nice.
Yeah.
So is it Rob?
Iron, or is that the aluminum?
It would be aluminum.
Is that what the existing one is?
The existing one is steel, and there was some concern there as we put it into the asphalt and concrete around there that there would be some corrosion around the bases. We have a small steel gate near the building now, and we're already having considerable amount of corrosion at the base of that gate.
So it would be like a black aluminum that would kind of look like this? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. From just glancing at it, there'd be no visual difference between the product we have now and that one. They're basically identical.
Is there any concerns that it would be more easily damaged than the steel?
Yeah, we had considered that. Luckily, we really, in the past, having a fence at our old building, the more high security wasn't a huge issue. It was just having that natural barrier there to keep the foot traffic out.
I meant, is there any concerns about the aluminum fence being more easily damaged than the steel fence? Which, from experience, it tells me that they are. And then the problem is that they're less inclined to get replaced and fixed if they are damaged. But I just didn't interested in whether that was a consideration or not.
Sure, I understand where you're going with that question. Yes, there was a consideration for being more easily damaged. Like I say, the corrosion resistance kind of led us towards aluminum and cost concerns to keep the project on budget. I can tell you that as a fire department, we take a great amount of pride in the way Central Station looks. Damaged fence would definitely be replaced promptly to keep the overall appearance of our facility looking good.
Well, and I acknowledge that you guys have done a really nice job at keeping that station looking very, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great piece of architecture. Well, so we have, I guess basically there was another option for a chain link fence, but staff is recommending this black aluminum style fence that would look pretty similar to the shorter fence, only it's going to just basically be taller and aluminum. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or concerns? Hearing none, does then somebody want to make a motion?
I move to approve using the aluminum, black aluminum.
Thank you, PJ. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. That was Brittany, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. Okay, motion carries. Carry on, Rob.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the help.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, I guess we don't have any more cases to talk about. We do have to elect officers and we have to review the bylaws. So,
So excited.
yeah. So first of all, we need a vice chair, and I don't think we right now have a vice chair, do we?
No, we don't. Jeff Bass was the vice chair, and so we didn't elect anyone when he resigned.
So does anybody want to be vice chair? Somebody want to nominate somebody, or basically, I think Laura sent out well, I think it was in the bylaws, the job description of the vice chair, which is really cover for the chair.
Yep, it's pretty straightforward.
All right, I can tell you all are so excited about this.
Has anyone expressed interest?
Not that I've heard of. Laura, have you heard of anybody?
I have not heard any. I can tell you that we've got your back.
Is there somebody that wants to be, maybe we'll start with chair. Is there somebody that is itching to be chair? And then that might help with who wants to be vice chair.
I thought I saw your hand up, Dana.
I think I've done it for like, what, 4 years?
You do a great job.
Yeah, you do a great job.
Well, I'm happy to turn over the invisible gavel to anybody who's interested at all.
So I would nominate Dana for chair.
Second.
And I second that nomination.
Is there a order here? Do we all have to, I mean, is it the same as any other motion? Is that how it goes?
I think so.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
All right. Well, I'm okay with doing it again, but seriously, if anybody else wants to do this, someone has to step up. Okay,
How
all
would
in
anybody do that?
favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay. All right.
Congratulations, Dana.
Thank you. It's really, I mean, I really, it's, the staff does all the work. I mean, they do everything, really. I just carry on these meetings, which I truly do enjoy. I would enjoy it more if we could actually be in person, but it is it is something that I think is important. I really do, and I think that we've made a difference in some of the decisions that we've made, and some of them have not been easy. And but I think we are. I think we're doing the city a service. So that said, so Vice Chair, we're not leaving until somebody steps up. Oh, come on, you guys. I'm gonna call on you.
And I was looking at these bios, trying to pick someone who's been here longer than I have. Greg or PJ, would either of you be interested in vice chairing?
I would nominate PJ.
Hey,
Oh, come on. I think a newer person ought to think about it.
Yeah, I do too.
Somebody
I
that
do too.
might at some point in time want to sort of think about being chair.
Somebody that still has their memory.
That too. Evan, how about you?
Sure. Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I don't know if I can nominate him or not, but would somebody nominate Evan?
I would so move.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Hagan will second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of Evan as vice chair, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries. Evan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Evan. Appreciate it.
Putting you on the spot, but we'd have been here all day.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to do it. Happy to get us out of here.
I like the way you think.
Okay, so last item on the agenda is the review of the bylaws. So Laura sent those out. I took a look at them. I think they're pretty complete.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The modes are pretty good. I think some of it's just carryover from our changing in the zoning code for the most part, because we don't have the specific emphasis areas for the downtown overlay district or the historic shopping district or the Hilltop Campus Village anymore.
Right.
So, and I don't know if you guys even really knew this or not, but planning moved to Development and Neighborhood Services Department. So under section 1.1.d for the secretary, it would be staff designated by the director of the Department of Development and Neighborhood Services instead of Community Planning and Economic Development.
So you'll change that.
Yeah, I can change that one. And then under meetings, Krishna pointed this one out. Under 2.1.c, it says our meetings are to be held at the police department community room.
Right.
But so we would want to switch that to City Hall Council chambers or otherwise specified, because our first preference is going to be the council chambers.
Yeah, I saw that one too. That makes sense. So then the other one excuse me, I saw. So do we also then want to strike the those other the overlay districts and all of that and correct that terminology?
Yeah, I would think so. So the two references I found for that was in 2.6b and 3.1.
3.1 or 3.2, Laura? So 3.1?
I think it's 3.1.
Yeah, 3.1.
Yep, you're right.
Then the only other thing I was wondering about is, should there be something on here about length of term?
Well, that would be up to you.
The 18, aren't we?
Well, since we've been on so long, we don't even remember, but it's been since before 2012.
I felt so bad just saying prior to 2012. I was wondering if you guys were original to the creation of the board. I wasn't 100% sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I was not.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Oh, so just Dana and I then.
Weren't you soon after though, PJ? Because I feel like, you've been on for a while.
Yeah, but not original.
But I
We've always
suggest
you original.
I wouldn't suggest necessarily. I mean, the bylaws wouldn't be able to do term limits for the overall board, nor would I want to lose you guys for serving long term on the board. But what you could do is put term limits on chair and vice chair if you wish. What ends up usually happening, because I was staffed to a different board, is end up just flip-flopping them whenever it would be the same two people, and they would just take turns as chair and vice chair. So it's up to you if you want to do it that way. Right now it says that the vice chair serves for the rest of their unexpired term. And it's just a chairperson that we'd need to elect annually.
So how often does the mayor review the makeup of the board?
So the terms are 3 years, and then anytime there's a vacancy, they review the makeup of the board. So when we had the new code, they updated the eligibility criteria for the design review board. So let me grab that real quick. And actually, Derek Nix got caught in the crossfire of this. He's no longer eligible right now to serve on the board. That's why you're not seeing him here tonight. The mayor's deciding on how to address that. But the eligibility requirements are to be a legal resident of the city of Davenport or own a property in one of the 3 districts that are under your purview. So the downtown zoning district, the Village of East Davenport zoning district, or the Elmore Corners zoning district. And unfortunately, Derek is not a resident of Davenport, and he doesn't own property. He does own property in Davenport, just not within these areas.
Do we have a maximum number of board members?
11.
Was that set by council, Laura?
Yep, they do the appointing. And then there's state mandate for gender balance. So no one gender can have more than 50% plus one person of a board. So the mayor's office is...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The mayor's office is in charge of reviewing applications and nominating appointments, and then the city council approves them.
And the council determined that the number of the board would be comprised of 11 people?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And so what I think they did is it used to be little subcommittees for each district, so I think they just crossed them over to be full core board members.
So, and there also is not any real mention in here about criteria for putting somebody on this board, but I mean, that seems like it's pretty important that there be some kind of at least an
Yeah,
interest,
so
knowledge of.
that's in a different it's in a different section of code in the city code. It's in
It is.
chapter 2. So that's where the composition of the board listed. So it's members shall include but are not limited to architects, urban designers, urban planners, architectural historians, landscape architects, civil or structural engineers, real estate development professionals, and contractors. So you don't have to be one of those, but that is that emphasis.
Mhm. Okay, so that is.
It is helpful.
It is.
Well, I really don't have anything other than what we've just talked about. Any other thoughts? Does anybody else have anything that stuck out when they were going through this?
Not I.
Did anybody have an orientation?
I sat with Matt and went over, I can't remember specifics, but I did meet with Matt.
You did?
A few weeks before I started last January, I think, yeah.
How about you,
Would
Brittany?
you like to be reoriented?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I was just asking Brittany if she's had any orientation.
No, just that call with you.
It was with
Or
me.
with Laura, I mean. that was it.
So what are your thoughts, group, board? Would it be helpful to have more orientation than what you have? I mean, I think it'd be great to at least have a bit of more introduction, maybe to the rest.
You know, I think that would allow new members to get their legs under them and be able to contribute more quickly. Just my thought.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that way too. I mean, it's been really hard, this whole year because of the circumstances, obviously. But even before that, I just feel like we don't really, know each other very well. So, I don't know, what kind of, because of open meeting laws and all of that kind of stuff, what we can and can't do. But I just feel like at least maybe Laura sending out some kind of a little bit more extensive, and thank you for sending out the bio that you did send out, but maybe something a little bit more extensive for each member so that we, know a little more about them. Might be kind of fun.
Yeah, I kept it pretty vanilla because I didn't want personal information in my email. And I'm pretty sure it would be struck from a FOIA request, but I didn't want information shared that people didn't feel comfortable sharing with people. Now, what I can do in February is we can have a work session after our regular scheduled meeting, which you guys would be more free to just kind of talk and get to know each other, and we can discuss the guidelines and how the board runs. We're actually doing for the Zoning Board of Adjustment, they're getting a work session this next Thursday, the 28th. Theirs is a little more procedural because they're a semi-judicial board, so there's a little bit more involved with rules of order and precedent. But we can absolutely, and I highly support doing a work session with you guys so you can get to know each other, and we can just go over any questions that you might have about what you're seeing, and we can do maybe some goal setting so that staff has some direction on where we want to take some things.
I think that would be great. And I also think it would be good for does everybody have a copy of the design guidelines? We need to get more of that out to people. You guys all have a copy of it?
Yep.
Yes. So it might be kind of nice to just touch base on some of the highlights of the design guidelines and just make sure we're all knowledgeable, because that's really our Bible, so to speak, on what we base our decisions on, really is falling back on that. Of course, the staff does a really great job of reminding us of what design guideline is being referred to in whatever proposal we're addressing. So that's really helpful.
Right.
So
And if there's certain areas that need more clarification, you can absolutely let us know and we can work towards those.
well, I like that idea too, and I think that if we could gather in person, if we're comfortable with that. I guess with 10, we can only meet with 10 people though. Is that still going to be in place in February?
I will have to check with the mayor's office.
Yeah, who knows? I guess the other thing would be though, if we can't, or if you're not comfortable with that, we would really appreciate it then if everybody could get access to a camera so we could see your face while we're talking to you. So, anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Hopefully we'll get some more cases in. This has been kind of quiet the last couple years.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know if part of that is getting rid of the hilltop as one of the areas you guys review. Maybe. So do you want to try to do a workshop in February, or do you want me to check with the mayor's office and see where things, if he has an idea of where things are going to be for February, and we will schedule it for March?
I'd rather try to do it when we can be in person.
Okay.
Yeah, that was going to be my recommendation.
It's just not quite as effective, I don't think, if we're all just, doing the same thing. And so, yeah, Laura, if you want to just kind of see, and maybe if it's not time yet, which it kind of feels like it might not be, when we finally do get the go ahead and everybody's okay with it when we're in person, then we could really shoot for doing that more in-depth meeting and the work session afterward.
Laura, would you mind reminding everyone why the Hilltop District is not part of our purview now?
Well, that's a great question, Greg, and I will have to look into it.
Well, I think I knew
I don't know. Do you know, Greg?
I thought I did before it happened, but then I'd heard a rumor that it was still going to remain, and then I was sort of surprised to find out that it was not. But I guess I don't know the official answer to that, Laura.
Okay. So I do know that they have interest in the Hilltop on doing some corridor planning and things like that. So there's a potential that maybe we'll bring them back in. I think they wanted to get rid of overlay districts. And so that might be part of the reason. They wanted to keep regular traditional zoning in the Hilltop to kind of control some of the uses, because they have a pretty, they're not as mixed use to the same extent as the downtown. So that might be part of the reason, but I don't want to necessarily speak out of turn. I'll have to check with Matt Flynn and see why that decision happened the way it did.
It seems weird. I agree with you though, Greg, and it seems weird that Hilltop wouldn't be, but Elmore Corners is, because that just seems so out there. And then, but yet Utica Ridge is not.
Right.
And it seemed like with the Hilltop, they had their own set of guidelines, and sometimes those guidelines differed from ours. And so we would end up having to discuss where they fit in with whatever was happening.
That might be part of it, because I don't think we have a city adopted plan for the hilltop in terms of design. So that might be part of it. Thanks, PJ.
That would be a really good question to find out. And then, yeah, and then, but yet, so Elmore Corners does have adopted the design guidelines and.
Yeah, the city did adopt those guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like there's some inconsistency, or maybe we just need to understand what the zoning philosophy is and how that applies to one but not the other.
Okay. I think that would be a great topic to discuss in the work session.
Good idea. Thanks for bringing that up, Greg.
You're welcome. I'm just
so
always
to circle
surprised.
Back around.
What was that,
Sorry,
Greg?
Greg?
I'm just surprised at how often I find things that I don't know. Or I guess it's actually more than I don't know than it is that I don't understand. But that's back to that age thing.
I think the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
There you go. That's my issue.
So true. Very true. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add?
Do you want me to bring back updated bylaws in February for you to approve?
That'd be great.
All righty.
Okay. Well, if there's no other business, I think we can go ahead and adjourn. I'm just looking through here real quick. I don't have anything else. So thanks everybody for joining in. I know it's a crazy night out there with the weather, so please stay safe. And hopefully we can be together soon in person.
Thank you, Laura, for all you do. And thank you, Dana. And thank you in the future to come, Evan.
Thanks so much, Laura, for all your hard work on this.
Not a problem. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Nice to see you.